Welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, to Qualifier Race number 3 in November. Last chance saloon to get a qualifying right in on the MyWhoosh. My name is Matt. I'll be taking you through all of the action here today with my co-host who's alongside me, Emma Martin, here back at the studio after being on UCL last week.
I am indeed here. I cannot wait to see the men today. You know, I took a week out last week and it looks like it was action all over. Today, though, the men heading to Arabia, from Belgium last week, 1,041 of climbing. I'm going to say that again, 1,041 meters of climbing today over the 45-kilometre course, and you can see the course in front of you. The green segments are sprints, 5 300-metre segments along the way, 2 climbs, 1 category 4 coming at 16.4 kilometres into the race. It's 3.3 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 2.9, but the biggie, the category 1 climb, well, that comes at 35 kilometres. The segment is 10 kilometres with an average grade 7%. Once they come to that polka dot banner signifying the end of the climbing segment, there's 500 metres to go till the checkered flag.
And key here is that the climbs on the way in as well as that final climb. Don't think this is all about just that monstrous ascent. For all of our race categories, they have to be attentive throughout the race, because without that, they will find themselves in trouble very easily. Lots of steep gradients. The first riders to take on the course are going to be our category 4 riders. We have in here the Bauhaus Sport Club team, the Tour de Force, Los Amigos, and Spinergy. Some fantastic teams. Tour de Force with Zanaska, Loika, Schoberg, we've got Spinergy with Finati, Roy, Appel and Cronia. Amigos has Nilsson, Villander and Carrillo. And there's Bauhaus Sport Club, Vanegas, Montoya, Warren, and Gerardo Montoya. Those are the riders in the teams. Big race field here today with some big names in it, and we are going to have to watch those as well. We'll have a run through our riders once we've got them up and away, but we are in countdown. Now is the time for the riders to be pressing on those pedals, because we are about to head out underneath the gantry. Here start, it is go. What's the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club loving that people have got the energy to put in an emote as they go off the start line in the Category 4 race, which, as always, is pretty frantic.
Yeah, it's a fast and furious start today. Francis leading them out. He's sprinting out of that start pen. Villada is the rider chasing. It is fast and furious from Francis. Look at that, over 5 watts per kilo out of the start pen. These Category 4 riders like to go out hard, they like to go out fast, and the body battery's already paying it in the peloton. They are playing it for us at the moment with entertainment as well as bike racing.
Oh, great to see the riders in action heading out. It's a start here in town. We're going to go through the Expo sprint. Lots of riders in here. Emma, take us through some of these riders.
Yeah, well, I think the big news in Category 4 today is not just that there are 41 riders on the start sheets today, so big field, 4 teams, a lot of individual riders, but the big news is that the top 3 riders who have been dominating this category have progressed to Category 3 today. So Mark Dadson, Luke and Dexter Abello, who have dominated in the top 5 for so long now, have made it to Category 3, which for me opens up this Category 4 race completely. So currently this month, Vanegas has had a 5th, Nowak has had a 3rd and a 4th, and Casagrande has had a 5th. Other than that, none of the other riders in this race today had a top 5 because of the dominance of those other 3 riders. So for me, red jerseys, this is your opportunity. Get racing, because that top 5 is as open as anything today.
Yeah, best chance for a long time to score up at the top with the movement of those riders. Francis is on the front. He's doing all of the work. Nobody's come across to him at this stage. It's a very early start. We've only travelled 1.4 kilometre of the total race distance. And a quick reminder for people who have watched before, and maybe some new information if you're new. Category 4 go 5 minutes in front of Category 3. There's then a 10-minute gap between 3 and 2, and then 5 minutes between 2 and 1. Categories 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 exist in parallel worlds, because basically it allows us to more riders out and racing, which is exactly what we want. 3 can see Category 4 and vice versa, and Category 1 can see Category 2 and vice versa. So 2 different but parallel worlds. So the riders up and away at the moment. At the front by France is a little bit of a gap. It is a kicker up this hill, 3.2% at the moment. That is starting to take its toll on the riders at the back. We have got riders out the back of the group, but everybody wants to be in. They don't want to lose stage, even though they know it's very difficult to win it at this point in time. So Category 4 away, Category 3 down on the start pens, ready to our teams. The Italian Espresso team, the Level Racing WTBR team down there, the Espresso Tequila, Quadrelli, Manella, as well as Roncalli. And when I say Quadrelli, we've got both Enrico and Filippo in the same Espresso team. Level Racing, Sandro Daniel, Simon Bradley in their WTBR. Osmar Vaz is in that team. The Anzacs are going to be in with the movement up of Dadson and Allport as well. Just mentioned into the school. Let's see who's going to take this on. The Italian Emma, they've got the strength in depth with those riders in there, but It's a huge race field.
It is a huge race field. 47 riders on the start sheets here today. And, you know, Filippo Quadrelli has been going well this month. He's had a first and a second in the previous two qualifiers. So he's got to be in the mix and he's got to be one of the favourites today. Diduch, he's had a fourth and a fifth. Kochikov's had a fourth. Moreno's had a second. Winfield's had a fifth. But, you know, it is such a competitive field, Category 3. And I think it's only going to get more competitive because Dadson, Allport and Abello have moved up. They're going to want to see what they can do. Can they do anything? I don't know. This is such a strong field of riders. So in Filippo Quadrelli, he has been absolutely dominant this month with his performances. Quadrelli won in Belgium last week. He was second in the outer loop the week before. They are away for the Jebel Hafeet today. Can Filippo Quadrelli put 3 rides of phenomenal performance out this month? The finals next week. Is he going to risk it for a biscuit or is he going to hold his powder dry this week? But we will wait and see.
Is that biscuit going to go soggy in the espresso?
Who knows?
We will find
what
out.
What type of biscuit do you dunk in an espresso?
Panettone.
That's not a biscuit, that's a cake.
Yeah, oh, don't get in the cake and biscuit argument. Whatever we do, it's only just started the show. Okay, so going categories. You can tell I want some breakfast here in where we are in the studios, currently in France. It is morning time. I'm ready for my breakfast. I'm sure the riders will have fueled up correctly, though, on their way ready for the race start. Very quick start here in Category 3 and in Category 4. Really interesting to see that the Category 4 riders who are already underway. Arago flying through the sprint at the moment and going through the Expo sprint in a 29.79. When you see the times top left-hand side of your screen, you can also pick them up online, mywhoosh.com/results, or results on there. We have 2 of our races away. So we have Category 4, who are the first riders on the road. They've covered 3.9k. At 0.9k, we have the Category 3. Category 2 and 1, well, they're waiting on the start page. You can see just over 8 minutes to the start of Category 2, and then 13 further up. Now, the riders are up and away in Category 3. They are currently at 1.2k. Quick reminder for you, the first of our sprints comes at 3.3k, but they are currently in the dip. It undulates across the side of town here, and it means that this next riser doesn't look like much. It doesn't seem like much until you try racing it. And like many things in life, they're really easy when you're not under pressure. But the moment you try and race them and you're under pressure, oh my God. This slope, I've tried holding wheels that are far faster than mine up here on MyWhoosh. It's tough. It really is. And it's that old thing. If you're on your limit, then you can be on the limit. If you've not warmed up correctly, you've not got yourself up to pace, it's going to be tough to do. Now, the rider we're watching are tucked in with the group at the moment, looking pretty smooth here. Dromard, one of our riders on MyWhoosh, a rider who was strong in the MyWhoosh Championships. Remember, of course, those MyWhoosh Championships at the start of 23. We had some amazing racing. Please do go watch it back. You can pick it up YouTube. You can go have a look on Twitch TV. Have a look at the competition. It was an absolutely brilliant competition with a massive prize fund of $1 million. Big prize fund. Amazing rides. Some strong rides in there. We've got some of those contenders. The rider who is chasing Justin Roy, the rider on your screen, was very strong indeed. But it's Justin Roy who is looking to open up the individual riders. Closed down by Quadrelli there. You can see Kirk coming through, Allport coming through, Busses coming through as well. Sure, quickly up by the front, but it's Kirk leading them. The pressure is on, the pace is on through the Expo. At the moment, we're at 2.3k. We're taking it along. We work our way around the Expo here. We've got another dip coming up, and that means as we drop down here at 1.7%, the speed is picking up 45 kilometers an hour versus Category 4, who are at 30 plus kilometers an hour at the moment. Cusimano leading the pack through Montoya, but it's very quickly changing as that pack is across the road. So categories 4 and 3 away. Category 2 will be our next group of riders to go, followed by category 1. Just under 6 minutes to go for category 2 and just under 11 minutes for category 1. 2 sets of riders away, Emma, category 3 and category 4. Both quickly. And to say that we have got 45 kilometres, 1,041 metres of climbing, they're very, very active already.
They are. That category 4 group went out hard. And Scott Francis really, really pushed them on. We're now seeing James Mantier push category 3. Look at this push, 6.8 watts per kilo. Absolutely hammering it here and really, really pushing it fast through that sprint, really wanting those sprint segments. And that's really interesting. Cy Bradley is in with us again. I'm sure he's coffeed up as well as he'd gone over the top of Mantier into that sprint and he's taken that sprint jersey. Look at that. He is now in green, in the greenskin suit, in that pack of blue.
And if you want to Bradley, he was in conversation along with Christopher Schenker and Matt Smithson of MyWhoosh on the Virtual Velo podcast. Jump on board. Matt Smithson talking about all things MyWhoosh as well as Sunday Race Club and Worlds with the newly released date of the end of the year into October for the World Championships. Don't forget, have a listen. Please, please, please. If you want to jump on board the bike, jump on MyWhoosh. You want a show just to take you through episode 33 of the Virtual Velo podcast with Christopher Schenker. They were talking with Matt Smithson. I know Emma's listening to it as well as myself. It was very, very interesting to hear Matt Smithson chatting. And he's a rider who practices what he preaches.
It does indeed. We do indeed need some, not just testing out MyWhoosh and what happens with the updates, but he's part and parcel of the Sunday Race Club. He's here in the category 4 race. Brett McMurtry's pushing on at the front. That pace is staying high in that race today, but he is indeed in and on the Sunday Race, working with the other riders and seeing what it's all about. Now, if you listen to that podcast and you fancy joining us on MyWhoosh, head over to mywhoosh.com. You can download the app off the website. You can get on and you can have a ride. But if you also fancy joining us on the Sunday Race Club, you can do that too. Head over to the events page on MyWhoosh. Click on the Sunday Race Club. There's a technical guide. There's the rules and regulations. I don't recommend you take a read. I think it's essential reading for the Sunday Race Club, and all the information you need on for a verified ride is there. So equipment, etc., take a look.
Definitely, really key, and it's one of those things, isn't it? If this was just a little non-pro level race, if there were no prizes, if it was just you and your mates, you can get away with pretty much anything. It's much more stringent, it's much stricter because there is such a big prize payout, and because, of course, everybody wants that level of fair competition.
Which is quite right and completely justified. So if you're part and parcel of those people who really enjoy your sport and you want to progress in esports cycling, get on, download the app, get onto the Sunday Race Club. Now is a great time to be thinking about it because next week is the final of November and then we start in December all over again.
So you might be jumping in if you've done all of your verification. We guys in category 2, if you are, you must be pretty good because you're going to be in with the Velocation cycling team of Kopecky, with Hubbards, with Kirchner, Beast Mode powered by Rosewell. They've got Howeiler, Mella and Von Haren here today. The Falcons with Hamden, with Altanagi and with Al Ramethi, but the Hitmen have proved to be incredibly strong. They've had the number 1 hit on the way through in terms of singing the right tunes. The results, though, may well be that they're feeling a little frustrated because Spratt, Simmons, Winfield and Esau, but they're not always the riders who take the top spots every month. What were they like so far this month, Emma?
Well, the Hitmen, the Wattage Wizards beat them last month in the final. And this month they've been there or thereabouts. Now, it is indeed Winfield who's taken a 4th. Yeast has taken a 2nd. But they haven't had it all in one way. Carver has third. Betty's had 2 5ths. Gates has had a 2nd. Graves has had a 4th. And Daunt has had a win as well. So, really interesting to see what could go on. Now, Mendakowicz, who took the other win this month, not here today. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in category 2.
So they're waiting to start. Meanwhile, we're back in a quick look category for that leading group. In there, Matt Smithson actually up there as well, giving it the berries up on the front, trying to just stretch his legs, see how people responded to that, and just stretching it out here. The rest of the riders in that pack, looking at him, watching him go, and just seeing him easing back. A little bit of a leg stretch there as he goes through, but I tell you something, this pack, they weren't panicking, were they? They're like, yeah, we know what, we're not going to panic at this stage. It's a long way to the finish.
Well, it's a long way to the finish, and there's a long climb at the end. 10 kilometres facing them. They're going to be facing category 2 as they're on a 10-second count. Now we're in with Munoz Geraldo in this start pen. Well, away go category 2. Category up and away on the final qualifier of November. They are up and out of the start pen. They are in Arabia today. Have the Jebel Hafeet in front of them. It's a 690-meter climb. It's 10 kilometers, and whilst the average gradient is 7%, it will kick over 13% on the way up. These guys, well, they've just come out of the start pen. They've got 44.8 kilometers left to go.
So our riders up and away. Mohammed Al-Alami in the pack here. One of the riders who really has been making himself at home in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, been putting some very strong rides. And what we do see when people come in is that they go further and further with that leading group time and time again as they get themselves up to pace. We see that, and then they start to be up at the sharp end when it comes into the finish. And they start taking the wins. That progression of our riders, part of the key thing that we really, really love to see here. Emma and I have been commentating on this for a while now together, and I have to say, in our pre-show meetings and in our post-show debriefs, the one conversation that tends to go on is, oh, didn't they do well? Weren't they going, oh, do you see that ride by? And I think that's really, really key. And it's in all categories. So don't think if you're not in category 1, we're not watching what you're getting up to. Believe me, we are, and we love that progression is moving through category 2. It is, of course, the step before category 1. These riders know that their next step up, if they take it, is up with what is essentially professional level sport.
Well, and you know, one of the things I really like watching week in, week out is not necessarily the front end of each of the categories, but the riders throughout the middle of the pack as well, because everybody is having their own individual battle. You know, the riders racing week in, week out, they know the riders who are riding around them. They know the riders they might want to beat. They know which courses suit them. I love that difference throughout the group.
Definitely, and I think that's one of the key things in the Sunday Race Club. There's so many stories going on. Right now, we've got Mark Gates up at the front. We've got Cam Winfield chasing him. Cam Winfield came to the fore in the championship. His story on his way through. Mountain biker, winner of a sprint in the championships by 0.01 of a second. You've got, Gates up here, another regular strong rider. You've got Simeons, Howeiler and co. chasing behind. The story of these races throughout all these race categories, there's so much more than we can tell you on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club coverage. We'll try and cover everybody all at the same time, but very, very difficult because you've got so many riders. But please do have a watch. If you want to know what it's all about, watch some of the shows. You can pick up MyWhoosh Live TV. It's MyWhoosh Live on Twitch TV. If you're watching it live, it gives you technicolor resolution from the word go. YouTube basically gives you a slightly different run on the live than it does on the replays. Yeah, of course, you can catch up with my on X, which used to be called Twitter, Facebook, and of course Instagram.
Well, my face is absolutely taking a hit to the floor at the moment because I'm looking at the stretch on this category 2 group at the moment, and it is a fast and furious start. This pace in this category 2 race. So now I was going to say to our viewers that it is such a competitive category, a little different from category 3, where we've seen some domination. You know, in category 2, 8 different riders have been in the top 5 over the last 2 qualifiers.
So out of 10 potential places, 8 people have taken them.
So it has been mixed bunch this month. I think looking at this is going to be a mixed bunch again today.
Well, let's see if they can take that to the finish. The Category 1 teams will be chasing, setting off 5 minutes behind. Now, in Category 1, we have the Belgian Waffles squad of Martin Martins and Jason Osborne. In the Our Whoosh squad, you have Arnie Jacobs, Ricardo Panizza, Saad Karadine, and Yodi Yokums. But the UAE clan team played an absolute blinder. You were teased just some of how much of a blinder on our rewind at the start of the show. But Knudsen, Popovic, SS, and Mr. X100 will once again be looking to dominate the racing with their tactics, strength, with their speed. Will they be able to do so? We're heading in to countdown. It is qualifier number 3, our final fire in November. It's time to show us what they've got. The final chance to get into the finals as we leave the pens, go underneath the UCI banner, underneath the gantry, and head out on to the course in Arabia. The Arabian world, one of my favorite worlds to ride in. It's one of our tough worlds to race in. We're heading for the Jebel Hafeet, and we will finish in 45 kilometers time with 1,041 meters of ascent. This is a climb at the end, but in between, there are some significant points. We have 3 significant drops in what is essentially the first 9 kilometers, where we go into the depressions and rise back up again. We also have the big climb of the Aquarium climb midway through the race, the drop down, and then another steep ascent categorized, but it does cause issues. So there is nowhere on this course these riders can relax too much. Heading in towards the very first of those depressions, it comes just over half a kilometer in, and they start to descend very shortly. That really picks up at 650 meters into the climb. Category 1 picking up the speed, picking up the pace. Currently the fastest riders on the road in terms of actual speed, but of course our riders stretched right out throughout the race. Just under 1k for category 1, 4.5k for category 2. We've got just over 13.5 for category 3. Category 4, of course, the first riders out with the most distance under their wheels, as category 1, the lead group together, making the way through the twists and turns of the city. The pace at over 40 kilometers now, just starting to ease back a little as they transition from the descent in towards the ascent. At the moment, we're riding in with Mr. X100, one of those key figures for the UAE clan team. Mr. X100, SS, Pablo Popovic, and Michael Knudsen really are going to be the team to beat today, particularly given the terrain here is a very tough run to the Aquarium climb. It then is bumpy and climbing all the way through to the start of the Jebel Hafeet. This is not a pancake flat run in, followed by a monstrously big climb. It's very much the case that the Jebel Hafeet, the final climb, which takes us from 34.5k right the way to the summit, is going to just be the icing on the cake as they come through. Mark Gates, well, he's trying to take advantage of one of those key ascents here at 5.1k in. He's on this. Basically, we said there were 3 depressions and 3 rises before the second of our sprints, the Abu Dhabi sprint. He's on the third of those, and this is that big ascent out. It is tough stuff here, climbing up and out. And you can see, although the gradient's only 1.5% at the moment, the gap for nearly 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, to watch the push here from Mark Gates, absolutely pushing on. So Gates making his move really early here. Volk doing the following with Ospina and El Alami. Kopecky is in there as well. But the gap is 5 seconds. When you take a look at the power coming out of Gates, just shy, well, between 4.5 and 5 watts per kilo. That isn't the pace coming out from the pack behind. I don't think they're worried about him at the moment.
You think they're just leaving him out to dry?
Well, I think they're thinking that the pace and the rolling momentum of the pack is going to wheel him back in anyway. And at 4 seconds, they're quite happy to hang him out there.
Well, they're going to go into a descent now, and that pack dynamic, the sitting in the group, hiding out the wind is going to be to their advantage. He's having to cut through it all on his own. But you look at the watts per kilo. I've just seen Olivier Simmons kick out 5 watts per kilo. That is pushing on. So category 2, one leader being chased down. Meanwhile, in Category 1, got at least one, if not two riders going off the front now. In Belgium last week, you saw it in the rewinds. Through the sprints, we saw people attack through them. We saw people go early. Johan Noren is on the move here at 6 watts per kilo. He's on the move. He's attacking hard. He's pushing through here. And at 2.7K, we're not even at banner. This is going to be really interesting here. Here he goes underneath the banner. So we're into the start of the Expo sprint. He's already gone in hard. Is he going to try confusion coming in to stay clear? This is interesting stuff.
Well, he's 8 seconds clear going into the sprint. What's going to happen when he comes out the other side? And is he going to continue? Because he's a rider capable of staying away. This is a dangerous movement. I mean, it's a long way to stay away, but Johan Noren can climb. He was 4th last week in Belgium. He is not a rider to be ignored. And I'll tell you something, Michael Knudsen is not ignoring him because he knows the danger that Noren is. So Noren has gone through the end of the sprint and he's not backed off.
He hasn't backed off. I didn't think he would. He went well before it. Look at the times that through there. Gates, Dont up there for Category 2. Then Knudsen and Nair. Then Turek is the next rider. And the riders going through are mixed in terms of times between Category 1 and Category 2. And that tells us a big, big story. And the story that tells us is that is going to be a difficult move to answer because Knudsen and Nair, 3rd and 4th from Category 1, they were the fastest through because they were chasing across to our race leader and only to a close to that time. Really interesting to see. So Knudsen goes, it's a fast time in Category 1. He's got that green skin suit. He's coming up onto the wheel of Johan Noren. The gap currently about 1 second. Now, he must know that this move is it's not going to be a race-winning breakaway per se, but what it's going to do is this is going to do so much damage behind because the pressure really is on. Marked out by Knudsen there, and I'll tell you something, it's almost a surprise not to see Tim Cutler on the attacking off the front because Tim Cutler is usually one of our key attackers at the very start of the race. He's almost been beaten to it by Johan Noren, who went out even quicker.
Well, I agree. We often see Tim Cutler put in attack after attack in the first half of the Category 1 race. This week it's Noren. It's been answered by Knudsen. And take a look at what's going on in Category 2. And it's interesting, isn't it? We might be in with Simmons and we might just be off the front at the moment, but it really is just only slightly off the front as they're going up this climb. It's currently 5.8%. It's been ticking upwards and that group's still moving well. This group's still moving strongly too. That's Noren and Knudsen out front. The pack now following hard.
So this chasing pack, they are just in that slight depression. You can see we've got coming up though as they come through. So there's a little climb out through the dunes here. As across the gap goes Michael Kaminsky.
Now this is interesting. Kaminsky took the King of the Mountains in Belgium last week in the points competition, but he didn't finish in the top 5.
Okay.
So strong climber, really suited to those Belgium climbs. Here's the rider pushing and going over the gap, and take a look at that. He's towing everybody with him.
He's bringing them across them for it, and we can tell that. You look at the screen, it is a long line of riders. There are people at relative speeds moving all over the place. Really interesting looking at the green of Knudsen. Again, suit of sprint leader. He's been absorbed back into back. They're coming across here, and it's key here that they managed to recover quickly because we're going to go over the top, and they know that as we go into this descent, the speed is going to pick up. Let a gap go now. You could be in trouble. They've got to get back in touch. You can see the sprints coming behind. Ross Fawcett going into the red zone. You saw those red chevrons on the right of your screen just kicking in, an indication that he's pushing over. This is into the big dip. Now, as you go into this big dip, we drop down. When they go into the descent, we saw Category 2 on the climb up to the roundabout on the other side. Tough stuff. And that is where you can get hard breakaway going. Category 2 on the left of your sprint into the sprint. Meanwhile, Category 3, little further up the road. Category 4, the riders furthest away from our race, start at nearly 17 kilometers. So the difference between our category 1, the leaders at just shy of 6K, and the category 4, who are at 16.9K, 10 kilometers on the roads at the moment. So big difference in distance, just over 6.214 miles separating the riders, or 10 kilometers between the leaders of category 1 and the leaders of category 4. At the moment, this course has shown us that groups, no solo breakaway sticking at the middle. The riders, though, are putting the pressure on now. Category 1 on the descent, 6.5% descent at the moment. Just riding in with Mr. X100, 63 kilometers an hour. This is the rundown. It will level, and then we will go into the ascent. The ascent on the other side is the roundabout climb. It doesn't have an official MyWhoosh name. This is a Matt's commentary name. The roundabout climb, it is burned into my memory and my legs because it is really tough stuff. Now, here we go. Just dropping down into this dip at the minute. We're coming up for 7K on the course, and that's making our way down here. This is going to be very interesting. Now, with that banner that we went through, we're actually going to be doing a loop and coming back through it the opposite direction, which is why it gets a little confusing. That's the end of the sprint. The next banner is the start of the sprint, and that is the Liwa Desert Sprint. We don't actually come back here to a lot further into the course, so it's going to be really interesting to see how the riders deal with that. What they need to be looking at is those tower blocks in front. That is the coming up. This is where you've got the chance to really do some damage to the rest of the riders, because this is a nasty little climb.
Yeah, well, whilst it's a nasty little climb, not just pull one of the riders out. It's really nice to see one of our new riders in here. We've got another rider now from the UK here, Jordan Giles. For those of you who might want to think about joining from the UK, Giles, cyclocross rider and road rider, top 20 in the Rydell, top 20 at the Lancaster Grand Prix, top 20 the UK Time Trial Championships this year. So that's the class of Jordan Giles. But where's Tim Cutler, who's
Thanks, Tim. Proving me right. He's always on the attack early somewhere. Tim Cutler on the move. Interesting, as you said, though, Jordan Giles, definitely a rider to watch. I worked on the very first Rydell Grand Prix and about 8 years worth of Rydell Grand Prix. I can tell you from personal memory, from riding, going out on the course. I've actually lived up by the course in Helmsley, Duncan Park, in a caravan for about a month, putting the race on in 1 year. It's much like this course all the way to the final climb. It's rolling, it's undulating. You have the odd section of flat where you get back. It's not coming down, but those flat sections are short. Very similar terrain. I'm expecting him to go well on this today.
Well, let's remember, he's up against class riders here in this category 1 race, and he's hanging with them at the moment. But don't forget, you can indeed join if you head over to MyWhoosh and click on the events page, click on the Sunday Race Club. Well, and you can be part and parcel of this. You could be the next Tim Cutler, riding off the front and putting 12 seconds into the category 1 race.
This roundabout climb is hard. It's harder than it looks. It's one of those climbs that you would ride at if you're riding outdoors. You'd think nothing of it until you were up and you went, what on earth am I going so hard up here for? Might have yesterday on the bike as they go up here, because this is tough stuff. And our categories of rider, it doesn't matter whether you're category 1, 2, 3 or 4. It is not easy when you're racing on your limit, wherever that limit may be. And that is why we see these riders being very careful to go too hard. Tim Cutler, though, he never seems to be afraid of this. He's either basically recovers really well, I think, Tim Cutler, or he's just really a bit banzai, sort of, a bit gung-ho.
I think he likes to mix it up.
Yeah, or he's just really enthusiastic.
Yeah, I think, well, you have to remember is everybody is on their own training plan. You don't know what people's got in this race. And it may be actually that he wants some hard efforts at the start, and then he wants an easier running. Or it may be that he's just got up this morning and thought, right, let's bring it to them.
Yeah, and why not? Because you're not going to, if what for me is really interesting, if you don't go for it, you never know. You'll never ever know. You just sit there wondering, going, oh, maybe I could have done it. I don't know. Really interesting to see.
Maybe one of his teammates is feeling very good today and he's trying to take the legs out of climbers.
It could well be. Tell you what's going to tell us that. Our sprint results as they come through. We're currently at 9.1k. This is 9k to 9.3k. So 300 meters as our sprint are. This is the second of 5 sprints. We go through the end of this, and this is where we get our snapshot. Tim Cutler got time. He got fractions of a second. I'm just working it out. It's 0.219 of a second from Michael Vink. So essentially he's got the same speed. So Cutler held his gap over the rest of category 1 on the way through, and the pace that they were traveling, we know that Bert Kane and we know that Ruben Don both sprint hard. They might have wins, but Ruben Don has a habit. It's like, do you know what he reminds me? He reminds me of my regular training partner, Ian, because the moment that you see a sprint sign, you only need to just go, oh, there's a sign. He's going sprinting down the road. He just can't control himself.
I'm giggling because I thought you said Ruben Don and Bert Kayan both have wings.
Well, they do there. They've even gone down the road at 5.5 and 7.5 watts per kilo. But they do this like, it's like, oh, look, there's a sprint gantry. Better go. Who thought of, oh, let's be smart and tactical. Let's wait. Let's hold. They just can't help themselves.
I'll tell you who's been smart and tactical now, and that's Tim Cutler.
Yeah.
This is now 22 seconds clear.
Go,
Look
Tim!
at
Come
that.
on!
If he turned his head over his shoulder, he would not see the chasing group. He is that far clear as they come up to this steep little bridge. Cutler pushing on. He's near the top. The rest are at the bottom. He's continuing to push. I think we're going to see a bit of a push on the climb behind, because this is a perfect time to that gap down. But this category 1 race, well, it has been lit up truly today or in Arabia, and they haven't got anywhere near the Jebel Hafeet yet.
They have going over the top. He now starts to pick up pace. The advantage, though, is going to go across to the chasing group, because as the speed picks up, having a massive riders, having the draft to hang on into is going to be key. Now, maximum speed I saw coming out of Tim Cutler on that descent was 60k an hour. I saw 64 chasing group. It's traveling faster in that pack. They should have pulled some of that time gap down going over the bump, because they were pulling him back because they pushed over the top, and then they've gone in the gap. I think I just saw flick through 4-5 seconds showing, I think, at the moment as they come through. He's just in front. That is a character chase if there ever was one. As we come underneath the next UCI banner here on MyWhoosh, and that's the RAK sprint at 11.1 to 11.3. K, so this is right. Sorry, 11k to 11.3k. This is the next sprint section. As you can see, Fawcett bridging across, SS coming as well. They're going to go up to Cutler. Walters pushing behind, and this is where it's dangerous. If you are behind a split here and the majority of riders make it across and you're in the minority at the back, you're going to be in trouble. Look at that. Fawcett's chase there means he's over a second faster than Kane. He's 1.683 from SS and over 2 seconds faster than Simon Walter, and they were chasing down with Fawcett.
Well, we know Fawcett can really push hard. Fawcett took the sprint jersey and the sprint competition in category 1 in the MyWhoosh Championships right back in April, May this year. He's showing us that he's still got that top end power going through there. K and Dont, SS Walter, Kranich von Haren. It's a mix of 1 and 2.
It is. So here we go. Fawcett on the move on the front now. 5 gap for Fawcett. You can see the chase behind. That is not the full bunch behind. It's in bits and pieces as they come through. There's little gaps between them, and those little gaps can soon open if the riders don't close down quick. So Fawcett from Moment from Knudsen, the clan team up near the front, chasing the gaps down. Fawcett with the gap though. And Ross Fawcett has got some big power on him. He's a rider who's very, very strong. Behind Jason Osborne starting to take up the chase as well. Osborne riding at the moment for the Belgian Waffle squad. And he's a rider who could go well on this time, as could Martin Martins. And
he's a man on form.
I knew you were going to say that, because I nearly said that as well. It's exactly what I was about to say. He is indeed the man on foot. He's got some great results, and he's riding very strongly. And he's at that kind of peak almost. It feels to me like he's really, really at a good good phase, and it's how long will it last almost, because it's so good. Imagine being able to hold on to it as a rider when you get that sort of those great legs, you're really going well. You wonder how to hold on. Sometimes it just stays. Will that be the case? Will Martin Martins be able to be up there? Ross Fawcett is on the lead at the moment in Category 1. He's the rider in line at the moment to be in number 1 spot for certainly the next few hundred metres or so. On categories going absolutely crazy at the moment from the start. This is not an easy ride for anybody. There is no waiting around to the final climb. They've definitely all gone for it. Categories 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I think time to show you exactly how much is at stake. So don't forget, this is a qualifier, so right-hand side of your screen. 2,160 AED for the win, going right the way down to 5th place, 432 AED. The certification is 10,800, and that will kick in next week. And at the same time, our Category 3 will be winning, not 10,000, 18,000 AED. The individual prize from both in our qualifiers and in the finals, 3,600 AED. And that is 3rd place in Category 2 with 6,000 AED for the win in Category 2. 30,000 AED for the team win. Now, we've moved up from Category 4 to 3 to 2. We move up again to Category 1. Team classification is 50,000 AED next week. That's why these teams have to get it dialed right the way through. 50,000, 30,000, 20,000, 10,000 and 5,000 AED for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th next week. The individual classification today, and in the finals, 2,000 for 5th, 4,000, 6,000 for 3rd, 8,000 AED for 2nd, and a whopping 10,000 AED for the win. And it's time, it's back, along with Emma, for Emma's Exchange here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is where jingles will be coming, I promise on this guy. Not that jingle, a proper jingle will be coming, and it will be for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, for Emma's Exchange, where we pick on a currency around the world because our riders come from around the globe. So, instead of 10,000 AED, you could be winning.
You could be winning, you could be winning £2,185 sterling, because we've just been watching Cy Bradley, we've been watching Ian Lloyd, we've talked about Jordan Giles and Ross Fawcett. All of those riders come from the UK. So today, £2,180 sterling for 1st place in the Category 1 race.
They are over £2,000 up for grabs today for the winning Category 1. Will Jordan putting that in his bank account? Will he be spending that in the UK? Maybe he could be going over to the Emirates and spending it in AED. You never know, because of course we have lots of riders riding and racing all over the globe. He may well ride the UAE tour.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, Lisa Hermansen took the trip the other week.
She did indeed. It was great to see Elisa. If you didn't see Elisa in the UAE in the MyWhoosh HQ, then do take a look back at that whilst we take a look at our course again. So a reminder for you of our race route. We've had our first 3 sprints in Category 1. The Aquarian climb is the key feature at the halfway point of the race route. Key climb here, 2.9% on the way up. It's a variable gradient. We then have a big dip and rise. Watch out for that. That is a key point for me, because that really is the big tester. Post-climb on the Aquarian, steep ramps, and not yet through the Leeward Desert Sprint, the Silent Dune Sprint. It's quite a way to the final climb, but it can be a springboard for success.
Well, what's thing is our Category 3 and Category 4 race field are up and over the Aquarium climb. In fact, they're also through the Leeward Desert Sprint, so you can see how far Category 3 and Category 4 are from Category 2 and Category 1. But let's not forget the time gaps. Category 4 started first, 5 minutes to Category 3, 10 minutes to Category 2, and 5 minutes to Category 1.
So on the right-hand side of your screen, they were on the ascent and into the descent. They were your Category 4 and 2. These are your Category 1 rider leader. It's Ross Fawcett. I tell you something, he's absolutely flying. He's just caught Camilo Sanchez. Sanchez jumping on board. And what is going to be really telling is going to be that time gap, 11 seconds. Fawcett has got the gap here. He's making this race hard.
He is. So Ross Fawcett from the UK absolutely pushing on at the moment. You know, is he going to be picking up that prize money, or are they going to close that gap? But at the moment, he is really working this race field.
He is working and trying to work them over in category left-hand side of your screen. Don't be fooled by that green skin suit. He's a category 1 rider. He's the fastest through the sprint. These are the chasers behind Mr. X100. Just deciding that enough is enough.
Wow.
He went up to the front there.
There's riders in between, actually, Matt, I think.
Oh,
I think there's riders in between. Let's just take
I
a
don't
little
think
look
so.
at this.
There you go. Let's see who's going to be correct.
Yes, we've got John. You might be right, actually. Just taking a little look.
Make a note in your diaries. Make a note in your diaries. Might actually be right. Like, look, it's just like now. Matt Nav at the 4 again.
Oh,
Matt Nav strikes. Ross Fawcett is indeed.
No, there are riders up the road. There's 3 riders ahead
They've
of
just
this
gone.
group.
They've just gone going around the corner. Don't give me any of that.
Look at them. They're up the road. There are riders in the middle, and it's Knudsen. It's SS.
Kaminsky.
No, yep, it is indeed. And they are in between Fawcett and this group.
They just bridged coming into and out of that left-hand turn.
I don't mind where they bridge. There is a gap, and there are riders ahead. Just to confirm, everybody, Matt was wrong.
I wasn't. I was correct at the time you said it. It just changed.
Well, anyway.
You spent so long defending it.
Kaminsky, Knudsen. Well, if I keep talking for long enough, everything will work out all right. Kaminsky, Knudsen, Van Diemen. Well, they are now with Fawcett. Jacobs is there as well. So we've now got a leading group and a chase group here in category 1.
And look at the distance, 17K. We all know what that means. It means that they're on to the climb. You saw that on the course profile. The Aquarian climb, they are the riders on the left of your screen. On the right of your screen, coming towards the top of the Aquarian climb, currently at 19.5K of 19.7K to get to the top of the climb. They are the riders in category 2. They're working their way up now. We do have a number of riders off front. We have what looks to be 3 riders clear at the front. Over the top, Rat leading them through from Simmons, then from Dont, and then it's going to be this big bunch of riders behind. So category 2 over the top, so you can see the time differences. You had Spratt, Simmons and Dont. There you're 3 riders away, 5 seconds between Spratt and Simmons and Dont, and then further back, a little bit of a gap back to Manco. However, the category 1 are also on the climb, and Michael Knudsen has decided that he's going to use this climb. This is the Aquarian climb. We're under the water. At the moment, there's a few people, I think, who feel like they're pedaling through treacle, never mind water, because the gaps are there. This is already starting to wind up.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Knudsen can do, but it's no surprise he's going on this climb. It's putting in that time, and it's interesting to see how much harder category 2 are going up this category 3, because Cy Bradley had set the fastest time from category 3 with an average of 4.1 watts per kilo. Now, Spratt 5.6.
5.6 watts per kilo, so that's power to weight. Now, for some people who are riding on different platforms, some platforms show power to weight ratio, the watts per kilo, some platforms don't. For me, as a rider, also as a commentator, for me, it is one of those key things. If I was riding on a different discipline and I was riding a mountain bike or I was riding a road bike or on the track, I'd be able to look across and see a rider. If they're big, they're powerful, they're short, they're thin, they're wide, stocky, they've got calves that have their own gravitational field because they're so big, I'd be able to see that. You can't see that. So what is the key way to show whether somebody is a climber, whether they are a very efficient rider? Look at the watts per kilo. So for me as a rider, as a racer, it's one of those key pieces of information. Yeah. It's one of the reasons I love to see the differences that Emma was highlighting there, because you can see that difference in the climbing time. Cy Bradley, 4.5, 5.5 from Mr. Spratt, and these guys are going to be even quicker.
Yeah, but what you also have to remember is it's not always watts per kilo that counts. Sometimes it is ultimate watts.
Absolutely. Yep. Totally, absolute watts. If you're in the sprint, on the flat, on the downhill, your actual wattage, pure power is key. If you can sprint at 2.3 thousand watts, you know, if you can kick out 2,000 watts in a sprint, you're going to be hard to beat on a flat sprint. the odds are, if you can kick out 2,000 watts, you're built like a brick outhouse. And that means that you are not going to be easy to beat in a sprint, but you will be easy to beat on a climb, because to put that much power out, you've got to be a big rider, and it's going to be difficult to beat. Now, just taking a little bit of a look a bit further back on the right-hand side of our screen here, just going to take a little look. I'm just looking at this group here, and Jason Osborne at the moment, it looks to me like he's not in the group.
Well,
he's been distanced.
You know, as we say, sometimes you don't know what people's schedules are like, what their racing and recovery schedules are like, what their training schedules are like, and you can't always make an assumption. Now, we do know that some of our riders do look at start sheets and make assumptions about where they're going to finish because of who's in the race. You cannot do that. You have to take it as it is, and you have to go in with it. And it's all about what you can do, about what anybody else can do, because you cannot influence that. But here at the moment, influencing this race is SS. He's pushing on at the front here. Simon Walter in 2, Daniel Turek in 3, Jordan Giles is still in there in 4, Michael Vink is here too. Now, I always think it's great to have Michael Vink in the race. You never know what he's going to do, whether he's going to take an easier ride or whether he's going to push on. But this final climb is going to suit him today.
I think really interesting seeing SS up there setting the pace. I think as we come towards the top of the climb, what the clan team are doing is they're ensuring we're not going to get any crazy breakaways just going over the top. They're keeping it hard enough. You see it outdoors on the Grand Tours, you see it in the Classics, you see it in the UAE Tour. What's happening is that the riders are keeping the pace high enough to prevent when the pace eases, it's a gap. That's not going to happen here. Look how close the time gaps are as they came over the top. The top 5 riders separated by less than a second. In fact, it's the top 7 riders that are separated by less than a second, and even 8th and 9th place, only fractions, tenths of a second outside of 1 second separating our fastest rider, a certain Jordan Giles.
Well, we said welcome to the party, Giles, and he is absolutely here. So Giles, Walter, Bjorn Jones, Mayer, Vink, Van Elst and X100, the top 9 riders, and it's Jody Jochems running out the top 10.
And interesting to look at the heart rates down there. Scroll down the heart rates. Only one rider up in the 180s. Now, Jordan Giles is a younger rider. He's not one of the older riders. The old school of thought was it was 220 minus your age. That is absolute bobbins. There's no other word for it. Well, there is, but I can't say it on air. It's absolute bobbins. It is just so inaccurate.
Well, let's put it that way, right? I have a friend who is the same age as me. She also races bikes. My maximum heart rate, if I fell off the bike in overload, would be about 182. Hers, 201.
Indeed, and that shows you the difference. Same age, different type of rider. So could well be that he's got plenty of capacity left, even though he's way above what everybody else was doing, that he's still only riding at the same sort of percentage of his overall. Now, back in with our Category 1 riders, this is about getting some recovery. Looking at the heart rate here of Jakob Björklund, he's at 175. It's dropping to 174, and this is where a lot of the riders will try and rest on the downhill. Stay with the pack, but not go too hard. And we do see attacks sometimes, Emma, on the downhill, but to get a gap at this pace solo is almost impossible, isn't it?
Oh, it's very, very tricky, particularly with the momentum of this group now moving. But they're moving rather well. But you can see, you know, they're backing off the pace a little bit now. They've been moving well up the climb. They're on the descent. They're taking a little bit of a breath, a little bit of recovery. Fawcett is back in the group. Martins is there. Tolbert is there. Turek is there. X100 is there. Nair is there. Van Diemen is there. Martins is there. Jones is there. Everybody we would expect to see in the leading group of a Category 1 race field is still in the mix. They're coming up for 22 kilometres of this 45-kilometre race. It's going to be an interesting climb.
It's going to be an interesting climb as we get there. Don't forget, though, at the base of this descent, we have got another ascent coming up, and this is the ascent we talked about as being the last chance before you get onto the main climb. Now, the rider's going to take this right-hand turn. They go through past the buildings, and they turn on to the climb itself. This is not the final climb. This is the climb up to the Liwa Desert Sprint, and it takes them up and through the sprint area. This is actually really tough. This is where it can break. But at the moment, this group are looking pretty smooth. They are chasing the riders. So they're going to come diving down. What's going to happen is they're going to go down through the roundabout. So they're going to head down, go through the roundabout that we saw them go up. We'll go through that sprint that we saw them go through backwards, and go through it the correct way this time round. That's the Leeward Desert Sprint. They carry that momentum sprint, but then you've got to climb up where they descended from. And it is a really brutal climb. It's very hard, and it could well break this group. It could be that somebody's going to take that. Jason Osborne here. Now Osborne is a professional rider. He's riding at 2.6 watts per kilo, and that is because he's now in recovery. He wants to get a ride in here on the platform. He wants to get to the end. He wants to get that result verified, but he's not out at the moment. We do have a number of riders who are going to be at that point in their program because, of course, being a Northern European Continental Pro, he's fit, he's fast, he needs to take a break sometime.
Well, take a look at his heart rate, 122. He is indeed having a really easy ride today. And that's because he's going to want a qualification for the final next week. Now, you don't have to be at the front of the race field playing out for the top 5 to get a qualification for the final. And that is exactly what Jason Osborne is doing. He is riding today. He's having a recovery ride on the Sunday Race Cup to ensure qualification for that final team. And then I'm sure we will see something very different from next week. At the moment, Kaminsky is pushing on here in category 1 race. Nair, Martins, Van Elst, Jones, Mayer are all in this group. And that green banner now, we're coming up for 23.6 kilometres. That is the Leeward Desert Sprint. That is the end of it. So you can see now one more sprint to go before they tackle the Hafeet.
And very telling that SS is the only yellow jersey in the top 9. Now, that means the leading group have made their way in and through that sprint at a very pedestrian pace. We're going to see if that changes as the rest of the riders go through. But at the moment, Don, again, you can see we know he goes regularly for those sprint times. Very little difference in the times through. So Don Simmons can, KN going through. Then Bert KN behind in category 2. SS, the fastest rider, shown in category 1, and it is SS Pim Van Diemen. They've come through. They're now on to the ascent. So this is the climb up. Look for a break to go here. If you're going to put a break in, this is a good point to go because it is steep, it is hard, and it's also about damaging the rest of the climbers' legs. If you know you've got some great climbers in here who can do rank A climbs, you make them work hard on this. This is relatively a short climb. This is about 3.5K of ascent on the way up, and that is going to be pretty tough stuff. It's not enough to trigger a categorization. It's not like the aquarium sprint, but it's almost as tough. And Pim Van Diemen now at 5.8 watts per kilo really is pushing, trying to come across. You can see he's got the yellow and red, so it's Kaminsky holding the wheels as well. Will we see some of those category 2 riders who managed to hold on to the category 1 bunch be a distance as it came through? It is one of the things that the riders trying to do. You can see that we've got Juan Gallo in there. He's tucked in with the group. He's the rider in that category 2 jersey, but this is where it's going to be increasingly difficult for him to stay with category 1 because whilst you're on the descent and you're traveling at 60 kilometers an hour, there's a lot of advantage sheltering in the draft. When you are riding up a hill, there's still draft at 20 kilometers an hour, but it's nowhere near the advantage. And he's hopefully, well, he's hoping he's going to get back to the category 2 leaders. I think that might be a big ask. He's got to stay in. He's got to hold those wheels. He's top left of your screen. So top left, category 1. Top right, category 2. Bottom left, category 3, and then we had category 4 in red. We're back in with category 3 because we're in with the one and only Mark Dadson.
Well, we wondered what he could do, didn't we, Matt, with this progression to Cat 3 from Cat 4. And he's been bunched and taken a toe the whole way around, and he's now stuck his nose out into the wind.
He's at 32.6 kilometers. So 2K from the start of the climb of the Jebel Hafeet. He's out the front of a category 3. Meanwhile, Mr. X100 on the move in category 1. He's not waiting till the climb. He's going early here. And this is a big move because behind you can see that they have not responded. They're still at 3 and 4 watts per kilo. As Mr. X100 goes down the road at 6 watts per kilo, we know he can set a brutal tempo. He can brutal paces on the climb at 4.9%. Now, this is not the main climb. This is just a kick out and over. Remember, we are at 20.4 k, and we are not yet at the base of the main climb, the Jebel Hafeet. Mr. X100 has got on the attack. He's got a gap. And I'll tell you something, that team behind the UAE clan team, they aren't going to let everybody else do the work now.
Well, there's still 9 kilometres to go till they get to the bottom of the Hafeet, and X100 pushing on strongly. And 12 seconds at the moment in the gap. This group behind, still quite the way across the road. SS is here, Martin, Safrazad, Vink, Jones, Nair, Kaminsky. All in that group. Giles is in there as well. As we're watching on the right-hand side of your screen, X100 continuing to push on, continuing to hold a good pace. Van den Eekhout, Walter, Mayer, all rotating off the front of the chase group behind, but it's still around 13, 14 seconds.
Wow, really good ride here, isn't it, Emma? I mean, this is what we've come to expect from Mr. X100. The UAE clan team, they use their riders as a team.
Oh, they do. They do. They ride and race week in, week out as a team. They do not ride as a group of individuals, and it gives them such strength and power, regardless of who is on the roster.
Definitely. Definitely. So strong. And that's why I think, for me, they become the team to beat, because week in, week out, we don't see them coming and going. They're always on there. You know, you see the others, they bring riders in, they go out. Just so strong.
Yeah, but what's been really interesting recently, Matt, is in the September final and the October final, following the utter dominance of the UAE clan team in the team competition in Category 1, we have seen the other teams work out how to beat them. So in the September final, they got beat. They got beat by Italian Gelato by 1 minute 57 seconds. Now, let's just remember, for our newer viewers, the team competition is your top 3 finishers in your team's time added together, and that gives you your team competition. So Italian Gelato from the UAE clan team in September in 1 minute 27. In October, it was the Belgian Waffles from the Sweet Potatoes, and the UAE clan team were in 3rd.
Well, I'm sure they'll be wanting to overturn that. They'll want their just desserts on the waffles and the gelato. We will see if that's going to be the case. This is the way to do it. Mr. X100 at the moment is half a minute. Should we say that again?
Half a minute?
Half a minute. Half a minute. He's half a minute, Governor. He is indeed half a minute down the road. It is nearly 30 seconds from Arnie, Stefan Van and Walter.
Well, it's really impressive, this attack here from X100. They let him go, and it's dangerous because at 27 seconds, we've seen him time trial his way up a mountain before. We've seen him catch gaps back on mountains with that time trialing ability that we'd not expected anyone to close down. He's now off the front. Can he stay out, Matt?
Possibly.
Well, there is a cagey answer if you heard one before.
I'm sitting on the fence for that because, and there is a reason for that, Mr. X100, we know he's going to go hard on the climb, all the way up the climb. The peak of the steep sections, and if there are aggressive racing moves being made, then that picks the pace right up on the steep sections, and that can close time down. If this was one gradient to the end of the race, so basically you did this section of the course, you went through the silent dune sprint to the base, and then you had a consistent gradient to the top, and there were no trigger points for people to put in the attacks, I'd say yes, he would make it, because we know he's just going to set the pace. I think the problem for him is there are too many good riders in this bunch. This is a big old bunch here with a lot of riders who think, yep, we're going to go for this. You do not race in Category 1 unless you think you can win it. Let's face it.
Do you know what I would call this bunch?
Go on.
A bunch of class.
A bunch of class?
Yeah, it's a bunch of class riders.
Okay. You can have that. You can have that. It's quite weird, but yeah, you can
have
that.
Isn't it? Well, you know.
It is a bunch. It's a class bunch. And really interesting for me is that pack are thinking, yep, we're going to get it back. How long dare we leave it? Now, Vidal Mayer just pushing on through that little section of the sprint, goes through in 3rd place. A slightly faster time than Mr. X100, but bearing in mind that Mr. X100 is the solo rider Kaminsky, Bjorklund, Nair, 2 seconds down on the fastest time. And still, best part of that 0.2 of a second down on Mr. X100. So that is really interesting that through that sprint he had now in behind him, all of a sudden people are starting to react. You can see at the moment Vidal Mayer is chasing with Ollie Jones. They are now pushing at 5-6 watts per kilo. They are looking to close down. Mr. X100 is consistently riding between 5 and 6 watts per kilo as well. He's looking to take this to the Hafeet. He's opened the gap. It's still hovering around about that 30-second mark, of course, to Mayer and Jones. And now come the rest of the group. And this is where it becomes dangerous, because as riders attack and they go on the offensive, you can see what it's done. That was a bunch that was just across the road. It's stretched. It's reformed. And what Mr. X100 needs now, he needs this group to basically ease off whilst they wait for the attack. It's a while the next attack comes. If it's constantly on the go, they're going to pull him back. But every time there's an attack and then a rest, in those pauses, in those moments of indecision, waiting for the right moment, he's pushing on all the time.
Well, we said this in the women's race, didn't we? Because we said there were too many people group in the women's race on bringing in. They were far more concerned about who was going to be second, third, fourth and fifth, because the group was so big they were racing each other rather than working together to pull the leader back in. Is that going to happen here? Because this is now 32.
You can lose the race by doing too much work. If that's come to the leader and you've done all the work, you are then in a really bad position. If you've not done much work and it's come back to the leader, you're in a great position. But that is all so presumptive on the fact that you are going to pull that. And I think that's a dangerous presumption to make. Because if you presume that you're going to pull back Mr. X100, I think you're mistaken. Because we know he's strong. He has taken wins. He has taken the top spot. He's ridden this platform since the dawn of time, pretty much. He is one of those riders who knows this world inside out. And I'll put you any amount of money. He's ridden up the Jebel Hafeet, outdoors as well as in.
Well, that may be the case, and that may well be true, but I'm looking at the time on the road at the moment. So 46 minutes under the Category 1 riders. This is going to be an hour and 20 racing. In the July qualifier at round 2, Knudsen took this in 1 hour 20 minutes. So there's still a long way to go yet. But this absolute dominance here from X100, 40 seconds now, the gap back. He's sat now at his comfortable pace, and I'm sure he's just going to try and tap this out all the way to the finish and let what happens behind happen behind. He is working really well today.
Absolutely brilliant to see, isn't it?
500 metres, you know.
And it's 42 seconds on the ground. So that distance will yo-yo. But 42 seconds, that is a phenomenal gap to open. And that is really difficult to put. You know, that you can go a blooming long way in 42 seconds.
Well, one of the things I'm finding really interesting here is you can look at the riders in between 100. Well, they're not actually in between. He's just caught them. So he's caught Oviedo and he's caught Von Haren. Now, those are not slouches when it comes to Category 2 racing.
No.
It's going to be really interesting to see whether they tap onto him and try and help out in terms of managing that pace, or whether he just rides straight past them.
It's to their advantage and his advantage, I think, to work together. Oviedo in here with Mr. X1. They're both putting in the effort here.
And there's a push from behind, you know. There's a push from the group. Vidal Mayer has pushed off the front of the chasing group. So Mayer now working hard to try and bridge the gap. Doesn't look like anybody's going with him at the moment.
It's really looking like the gap is opening. So Vidal Mayer is on his way across. And if it's one let another rider go, that just means there's more breadcrumbs to chase the way up, to follow up on the way up. Vidal Mayer, Mr. X100 in the race lead. Oviedo is a rider with him. Oviedo in the green of Category 2. In the yellow is the leader. That is Mr. X100. This is the chaser, though. Vidal Mayer on the rider. X100, and it looks to me like as they hit this slope, he doesn't want to go too deep. Oviedo is with him. He's going to be giving him a little bit of a draft advantage to go down the other side, but this is that steep bridge kicker that we saw the riders coming over in the direction. We're heading back over the top, going back out again, and that the moment certainly looks to me like Jose Oviedo knows that if he's smart here, he has got a breakaway companion coming up, and he's going to use him. I mean, he could get back to Gombert if he stays with him. Gombert's 30 seconds up the road. Because he can use the advantage of sitting with Mr. X100, and then if he gets dropped by Mr. X100, the bunch is coming as well. But finding 38 seconds, 40 seconds back to the rider behind, and then it's even bigger, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. Vidal Mayer is a chasing rider in the Cat 1 race. He's 36 seconds back from X100, and he's 10 seconds up the road from the chasing group. Now, this is really interesting. Now, Oviedo, the Category 2 rider, is looking at the riding style as not tagged. The X100 is sat at 5.1 watts per kilo and is not moving. Oviedo is up, down, up, down, up, down. And that may be his only way to stay with him, because he may well be a very different type of rider to X100. But this is the chase group behind, and Michael is in here. He's to the back of the group now. He's at X100's teammate in here, so very happy, I think, to leave X100 out there and to let the other riders in this group chase on. But the pace on that group, well, it's not particularly fast.
That is a very subtle way of saying
they're not chasing.
Can't be bothered.
I don't know whether they can't be bothered.
No, I don't think. Come on, they could. If they wanted to, that group works and they bury themselves, they can bring him back.
I think they think it's all for the climb.
I think well, it's a long climb.
It is.
Always say about big climbs at the finish, mountaintop finishes produce minute gaps. They don't produce gaps of 1-2 seconds. If they do, it's only between two riders. Yeah. It's very rare that the bunch is separated by that. The riders are going to feel the climb. It is a big, long climb. And I think the bunch can't be bothered to bring him back until they hit the climb, because if you do, you're going to put yourself in trouble on the climb. And he knows that he's riding at a good pace.
Yeah, well, while X100 continues,
look at that.
He's trying to get the Category 2 riders to work with him. But just a note, when we have those 4 different categories on the screen, Category 3 have now overtaken Category 4.
And look like they're on the climb to me.
Yeah, so Category 3 now leaders on the road at the moment, whilst we're still in here with Category 1. X100 on the right-hand side of your screen is broken away from the group. Vidal Mayer is in no man's land in between the group and X100. The chasing group behind are further back as X100 tries to get the two riders to work with him, but they can't stay with him. Gombert is completely blown up. Jose Oviedo's trying to stay in there and trying to help out a bit, but it is going to, well, I think it's going to break him.
It could do, but do you know what? He's got a place back with that. Mr. X100, though, really winding this up. We're about to come to the base of the climb. This is the run out from town. We are heading in towards the climb. The banner will come for the start of the climb. This is the run basically to Al Ain. So in Al Ain, in the United Arab Emirates, Al Ain is the area around where the Jebel Hafeet is situated at the base of the climb. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's amazing scenery, full of history. He's making his way in to the UCI banner that indicates the start of the climb. He's going to hit that with 45 seconds back to Vidal Mayer and the best part of a minute back to the main bunch. In fact, it's a minute and 10 seconds, I think, to the main bunch. Mayer is the next rider. He can't even spam it yet.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mayer has got 25 seconds to the main group. Simon Walter now trying to do the same thing and push across. He's got a 5-second gap on the chasing group. Ross Fawcett and Pim van Diemen have come to the front of the chasing group. It is all going on in the Category 1 race, in the Category 2 race, in the Category 3 race, and in the Category 4 race. Cy Bradley leading the Category 3 race at the moment. He's currently 4th on the road. Brett McMurtry, Adriano Zanaska, and I'm just trying to take a quick look. I think that's Vegas is the other rider in there from the Category 4 race field. Absolutely pushing on. So 3 Category 4 riders at the front of the race field. It is Vergara Agudelo in 3rd place in that race. Category 3, well, they are marching through the Category 4 race. Bradley out the front. Great to see him after having ridden the platform and raced the platform now for 4 or 5, 6 weeks, something like that, really now starting to understand the technique and tactics required on the Sunday Race Club and really starting to work that through.
So great riding by Bradley in that. It's certainly looking like that Category 3 and 4 race is going to run to the finish. Category 3 catching all but the front 4 or so in Category 4. Remember, Category 4 in red, Category 3 in blue, Category 2 in green, and Category 1 in yellow. Those are all making their way up the climb, being chased by Category 1. The last riders on the road to set off. They set off some 20 minutes behind Category 4. Remember, Categories 3 and 4 are in one world. Categories 1 and 2 in a parallel world. And it means that 1 and 2 can see each other, and 3 and 4 can see each other and benefit from the draft. McMurtry on the right-hand side of your screen, the sole remaining rider at the bottom right-hand side of the Category 4 leaders. He's got a gap on the chase behind, but it's minimal. They were right on his heels. Meanwhile, the solo leader in Category 1 is Mr. X100. Now, Mare is now at 1 minute 14 seconds, but those time gaps are going to yo-yo because at the start of the climb, it's very steep, and that means that the speed will be lower, and those speeds, the time gaps are calculated by the distance and the relative speeds. So at the moment, Vidal Mare on that flat section has sped up, and that means that he should have closed the gap down to Mr. X100, who will be going relatively slower, and open the gap to the riders behind who aren't going relatively well, because he was the only rider on a descent. When they all get on the same gradient, we'll get a better indicator of those time gaps.
Oh, and that is what is tricky here, because this climb is not a consistent climb. It actually has stepped sections. So there are some very, very steep sections, very much shallower ones as well. So at the moment, X100 and Mare, the gradient over 10% for both orders at the moment. This is 1 and 2. X100 being leading this Category 1 race at the moment. Mare 30 plus seconds behind. The chasing group even further. And actually, the best graphic to take a look at here is the bottom left-hand side of each screen, because you can very clearly see those yellow dots and the spaces between them. Now, that is particularly interesting because the chasing group, well, I think they are catching Vidal Mare, because Martins, Van Elst and Nair are, I'm looking at that, I think that says 7 seconds behind.
Really, that is, it's so interesting to see when riders go on the attack and they go on the attack and they don't get a gap. The Category 3 leaders going in front of Category 4 at the moment, and you can see McMurtry now into 8th position. Leader on the road is Cy Bradley. Don't forget, you can catch up with Cy Bradley. Be really interesting to see what he thinks of his race here today. The pressure is going to be on him a little bit. It's always the danger if you are in the media and you publicise your efforts, the good and the bad. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens and how his experience is.
Well, it's Codrelli in 2, Caligula 3, Valles in 4. So he's got absolutely class riders with him. There's the one gap spanning those riders. It's going to be a fight to the top in Category 3.
And in Category 1, looks like there's been a change, and looks like Nair is now absorbed within the main bunch altogether. So we have a solo rider, Mr. X100, with a gap of about half a minute to the chasing group of riders behind. And I think that includes his teammates like Michael Vink. Vink is at 36 seconds, at 38 seconds at the moment. And this is where we get. Was this a move by the UAE Clan team to send someone up the road to help? Or is this about sending Mr. X100 up the road to take the win? This is what's going to decide it. The action is on, and this is the attacks that are coming behind. So it's attacked. A response from Michael Vink. Mr. X100 can continue at his pace. Everybody else is dancing to everybody else's tune. Every one of them taking a turn to pick up that conducting stick and decide how fast they're playing, who is going to be in the game, and who's going to take it at the top. This is going to be frantic now because they know that they have got what is going to be 8.5 kilometers left to decide the outcome of this race. It's all the way to the top of the Jebel Hafeet, the iconic climb in the UAE Tour, in the MyWhoosh Championship, and of course in the Sunday Race Club. This shot up above, you can see those riders in that pack just reforming, regrouping, and then it's time to take another move, time to take a little bit of a turn on the front, put the pressure on, look at the stretch there, and then see the response. You can see the dots breaking and coming back. Looks like our category 2 right off the back of there, if it's not our sprint leader, and it certainly looks to me like we are seeing a big move here on the front. Vink definitely comfortable within that. But look at this, Martins it is who's leading the chase of Mr. X100. No wonder Michael Vink was in pursuit.
Well, 15 riders in that chasing group, 15 riders moving up that mountain as one pack at the moment. Occasional riders dropping off the back, but it's going to take some time before they catch X100. They've got some way to go, but they are indeed closing, I think. So the gap now down to 17 seconds. It's Safrazad leading the charge with Kaminsky, Martins and Noren. Ollie Jones is in there. Jakob Bjorklund is in there. David Talbot is in there. Us chase field up this mountain today, and they can now see him. They can now see 800 up the mountain in front of them. That is now a motivation to chase.
And also, I think it's a motivation to go on the offensive, almost for his teammates as well. Can we bridge across and get in with Mr. X100? The gap is coming down to the point where I don't think he's going to stay clear. And that's the calculation they're making, isn't it? It's at what point do you go, this is not the race-winning move, therefore we make another move. Let's us make that move and not wait to respond to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. And now it is about who is going to make the move and who is going to go. And it's Michael Vink, they are the ones pushing on here. They are going to close that gap quicker now as they sweep round this left-hand bend. X100, he's there. If he could turn his head, he would see them coming. And it's Michael Vink, his teammate, leading the charge. This is a case of, well, UAE clan team dominance at the moment on this mountain. X100, Martins, David Talbot, Syed Safrazad. They are all there, but Vink and Knudsen are in this group.
And this is going to continue, I think, to the top. This constantly attacking, even if we get a cell leader go clear. This is going to be really interesting because I think we're going to have battles all the way down the slopes of the Jebel Hafeet in all our categories.
Well,
the category 1 being wound up here. Knudsen from Noren from Talbot. Who's to say that way? Nobody, because I think we've still got plenty of slopes. We've still got some of those rises, and we was talking about the profile changing, getting steeper, leveling and getting steeper. And I think they could be the key to unlocking the climb here today and taking victory using the terrain that could give you that slight advantage.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another one of the UAE clan team riders attack. X100 now brought back into the fold. Michael Knudsen is the rider pushing on at the moment at the front of this group, but Martin's on his wheel. So is Talbot, so is Safrazad. Going to be really interesting. Back into the category 2 race. They are further up the mountain at 38.9 kilometers. It's Holweller, Betty, El Alami is here, Graves is here, Spratt, Dont, Simmons. Wow, this group is strong.
It's a very competitive, strong group. You can see on the bottom left-hand side of the category 2 race, them making their way around that tight hairpin bend. Meanwhile, categories 3 and 4, well, that leading group of category 3 rows on the left-hand side of your screen, Gillett, Bradley, Quadrelli, they're being chased by Veles. It looks like they've got company on the way up there. Number of riders just in touch, so I think that's going to be potentially 5 riders in the leading group of category 3 at the moment, and certainly in the mix with the riders represented both Level Racing and the Italian Espresso teams. a Category 4 leader. Well, that still looks like that's Brett you put in that early gap. He's got the lead there. In Category 2, it's all over the place at the moment, all the way down the mountain, and they are in the sights of the leaders here because this is Martin Martins on form and on the front with Talbot, Noren, Safrazad behind, but Martins keeping that pace hard.
Well, Martins has got his climbing legs on him at the moment, and he's really showing us how to climb. But we've got, well, 6.5 kilometers still to go until we see the finish line. It's Noren, Safrazad, Martins, everybody is in the mix. Knudsen is here as well. So is Michael Vink. This is such a competitive Category 1 race today. And if you look on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you've got Category 1 riders smattered all over the hillside amongst the Category 2 riders. It is absolutely fast and furious. 2, 4, 6. I think 6 or 7 riders I'm counting in that category. They're very small on my screen at the moment. 6 or 7 riders in that Category 1 leading pack. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the 5 riders. Mohammed El Almani, he's rider number 6 in the Category 2 race, and he's pushing hard to get back on the group. He's got 3 riders behind him, including Ospina and David Munoz Giraldo. Those are strong riders as well, but he's getting into no man land's territory with the 5 riders down the road. Can he get back onto that leading group?
He's got to push now. That chasing 3 behind him will be on his heels if he hesitates, and that is one of the things on this climb. So difficult if you are not absolutely on the pace because you are in that red zone. You've got to be so careful. These are your leaders now in Category 1. The chase is on behind. They're fractured. They are not one solid block, but the gaps are not too huge in the top 6 at the moment. Martins right up at the front of the race. He goes past Henry East of the Category 2 race. He is going to go put through Bjarhead and Krasnich. Then it's Sights, followed by Winfield and Mayer, the leading Category 1. Start through the Category 2. The Category 2 leaders up the road, Category 3 and 4. While they are on the road with Category 3 leaders overtaking Category 4. The Category 3 lead, Cy Bradley, Filippo Quadrelli in there. Looks like Kano in there as well as the rest of that pack. They are ahead of the rest of Category 3 and the Category 4 lead. That is Brett McMurtry in the red on the right-hand side of your screen. Brett McMurtry with that early breakaway. He continues to hold that. He can't relax too much way up this climb because he does have a rider behind him trying to close that gap down, so he can't afford to relax too much. But with 4 groups all on the mountain, Category 1, this is the chase behind, and this is in one of the groups up. It looks like Mr. X 112 seconds back from Kaminsky, and behind him you've got Bjorklund and Jones, the leaders around the left-hand turn. He's chasing. Meanwhile, right-hand side of your screen, you can see Category 2. They're really pushing on here. Simmons are working hard. Category 1, we're back in. And you can see that Martins, Talbot, Safrazad and Knudsen are your lead riders. There is a gap, though, from Martins back.
There is indeed. So Martins continuing to push on up the climb. He's coming up to the 5K banner, but he has got 4 riders on his heels, and Knudsen is leading that out with Vink, Talbot and Saf. Now all of these riders on phenomenal form at the moment. The Category 2 race also fast and furious with a group of riders. They've got 4.5 kilometers to go. Holweiler, Betty, El Halami has got onto that group. Graves is there, so is Simmons and Dont. Ospina and Spratt 15 seconds back now. So I think the win is going to come from these 6.
Surely got to come from them. And it'll leveling, we've got another attack point on the into that climb, and then we've got the run in. The finish is not simple at the top of the Hafeet. You've got to get the pace right. You've got to get the timing right of your push over the top. You can lose 10 seconds in the last 500 meters just by pushing on the pedals at the wrong time. So it's going to be key. The one I have to worry about that is to go solo. Martin Martins has gone for it. He's being chased by Michael Nussen. The pace of these two riders are fractured category 1. This is the leading group in category 2. Do you know what? They're not that of this man. Martin, Nussen, Talbot, and Vink sat in 5 seconds.
It's so true. This category 1 race field are charging up this mountain at the moment. Around 10 minutes more of racing to go for them as they charge their way through the E2 race field. It's the mix and green all the way up in. We're in with Michael Vink. He's Knudsen and Martins up the mountain, but they've got a 2-second gap. Safrazad is with him, but Talbot now has been broken. David Talbot now 5 seconds back.
So here we go, making his way up that climb. You've got Knudsen, you've got Martins at the front there, you've got Safrazad and Vink in there. Category 1, Category 4, Murtry, he's bottom right-hand side of your screen. On the other diagonal, you can see the left-hand bottom side of Quadrelia opening up the throttles, trying to distance Bradley and Caligula. And the top right-hand side is Graves, Manella in there, Betty in there. This is going to come down, I think, to one of the closest finishes in all of our categories at the moment, with Brett McMurtry pretty much the only solo rider leading at this stage.
Well, the regularly racing the Sunday know now how to race a course with a big climb at the end, whether it's the Jebel Yace, whether it's the Jebel Hafeet, whatever that climb is, whether we're on the Paso Alto in Colombia. A lot of these races on the Sunday Race Club finish with a big climb. And if you're here week in, week out, you learn to race that type of race, and that's why I think we are seeing such big packs go up these mountains, because the climbing ability of the groups are getting stronger.
And they're close together because, of course, we've got those dynamic categories, we've got people moving up as they progress, as they slide through to the category. You see people moving. It keeps it competitive. It keeps that racing all the way to the finish, even on the mountain tops. And it certainly looks to me like that's going to be the case. Category 1. Again, more moves. Vink and Knudsen keep on putting it in the pace. It's Michael Vink leading out, setting the pace at the moment in the category 1 race. 7.7 watts per kilo. They've just come on flats. I tell you something, this has got to be hurting. There's no way you can ride up here without your legs screaming.
Well, legs are screaming, heart's pumping, everything's going on at the moment. Gulping in the air as soon as you can. X100, who led the charge early on, now further down the mountain. He's continuing to work his way, though, at a very steady pace. His pace pretty much has not changed since he put that attack in earlier. Seriously going for a very long time trial effort.
He is. It's a consistent 5.8 to 6 watts per kilo. I mean, that is some effort. He's there on his limit all the way up the climb. He knows how to ride it to maximize the efficiency. Meanwhile, Che Howeiler is leading category 2. The pedal cadence 53 revs per minute. And that is a weight training session. That is moving your pedals around less than once a second. That is hard work, and there is a limited amount of time you can do that. Spratt is behind, and I think Spratt and Ospina are going to be riders who are going to see Tim Martins, Michael Vink, Said Safrazad, and Michael Nussen, the 4 leaders of category 1. They are closing in on the wheels of Spratt and Ospina. That gap is quickly ticking down. Here they come. Here comes the leader. Michael Vink is going to lead the category 1 through past the climber leaders that came into the final climb in category 2. And this is about trying to grab a lift on the way through. Vink up to 7th place overall between the category 1 and category 2 riders. So the 2 categories on your screen, this is going to be about that push to the line Will Category 1 catch back the leaders? Time is running out. They're at 42k in Category 1 in the lead. Allow me in Category 2. He's just in front, and it's 42.3k covered in Category 2 for the leader, which is Olivier Simmons.
Well, I'll tell you something, no one is going to be stopping to let you on board right now. This is eyeballs out to the finish, and Vink is putting the power down. Martins is desperately hanging on to his coattails. Knudsen is now broken at 7 seconds. Safrazad is even further back down the mountain. So this is a Vink versus Martins race at the moment. Both of these riders seriously pushing on up the mountain as we watch the Martins. Well, has he got the ability to stay with Michael Vink on the rest time? We know he is a man on form at the moment. Is his form going to victory, or is Vink going to dominate?
So here we are, the leaders on the road. This is Category 3. Our Category 1 race will unfold. What will happen? We'll come back to that in a minute, because we are into our last kilometre for Category 3. It is going to be the run to the finish. This is going to be interesting. Caligula, Velez, Bradley and Quadrelli. Now, Bradley has got that green skin suit in there. He's the rider who is really obvious to spot. Caligula has the blue bandana on. It looks to me like Quadrelli's coming in the blue, and Velez at the moment is at the back, but he's coming. He's coming on the shoulder now. This is about the finish, getting the timing right. We see it time and time again. You go over the top, you drop down. Pablo Popovic, momentum master of MyWhoosh, gets it right time and time again and scalps people.
Well, Quadrelli has attacked early, so Filippo Quadrelli has attacked early with more than 500 meters to go. It's an early attack. Can he hold it? Because he's going long. He's going seriously long. Cy Bradley is on. Velez is in third. Caligula in fourth. But they're 3 seconds back Filippo Quadrelli as he starts to push up the climb.
Here you go. This is the run. You've got to get the momentum right. Quadrelli leading. Velez coming at 10 watts per kilo. So is Caligula. Bradley has got to make a move. This is the run. It's so tight. You've got to finish it off in style. Here comes the banner. Velez leading it out. Quadrelli on his right-hand side. Caligula comes, but it's going to be Velez who takes it. Jose Velez takes it from Quadrelli, from Caligula. It's going to be Bradley in fourth place. What a finishing Category 2.
Phenomenal. It looks like it was sewn up with Velez off the back, but he got his timing absolutely spot on for finish line.
And the riders who are coming are going to know it is that classic Hafeet finish. Over the top, drop down, climb back up into the finish. You've got to get your momentum right. If you ride the platform, you will have ridden that climb. It is a brilliant climb. I've been up this on the platform. It is absolutely amazing on MyWhoosh. It might hurt, but it's worth it. And that little dip and run means you can finish with a flourish. Let's see who's going to have this. We have two leaders, Martin and Michael Vink in Category 1. They're on the wheels of Mohamed El Alami, who has stayed until we come into the final kilometre, half of them. And at the moment, he's using their pace to come back towards Ruben Dont here.
Well, what's interesting, Ruben Dont has been distanced now from the leading group of 4 in that Category 2 race. Simmons, Betty, Graves and Holweller have broken clear. So 4 riders clearing Category 2, pretty much like we thought, 4 riders clearing Category 3.
So Vink now on the attack. He's taken a bit of a march on Martin Martins. He went away at over 10 watts per kilo. Martin Martins is going to have to respond here. Is there anything left in the legs of the Belgian? Vink has gone hard here. He knows this climb inside out, but this is the steep section and you can lose a lot of time. Has he gone too soon? Can Martins do anything about it? It's 5 seconds between them. They're on the left-hand side of your screen, right-hand side of your screen. We're at 900 meters to go for Category 2. Howella, Simmons, Graves, Betty fighting it out. There's only up the road ahead of Martins, and it's Martins chasing Michael Vink. They can see Betty up the road, but at the moment, Chandler is the man with the gap. He's now at 44.2k covered, 4.1. It's Michael Vink coming. He's like race train. He saved something for the end here. It's now 6 seconds to Martins. Is that game over? Is he not going to risk it in a fight for the correct pace and momentum on the final section of the climb? Or can Martins pull a rabbit out of the hat and really magic something up?
Well, Vink has had to push on and work hard to break Martins, but he has now broken Martins chasing second place. Vink sprinted away at 10 watts per kilo, but we're watching Che Holweller at the moment in the Category 2 race field. He is ahead. He's the only rider now ahead of Michael Vink as Holweller comes in for the finish.
So this is the run into the finish. Jay Howala with 29.32 for the climb. He's into those last few hundred meters. He'll come round. He can see that UCI gantry. He's going to hit the gantry. He's coming in to the finish. But Michael Vink is coming here. They come the rest of the riders.
They're coming thick and fast. And Betty's going to go over the top. Is he not? Line by line. Martins is coming as well. Vink is there too. They are all coming through at the moment, absolutely fast and furious. Vink is under the banner to win in the Category 1 race as Martins comes up looking for second place.
So a win for Mike, a win for Jay Howala in their respective categories. Absolutely big race finish here. The terrain really taking its toll on the riders here. So Michael Vink in Category 1 from Martin. Category 2, it's Hurt from Betty. From Graves, it's then going to be this battle between El Halami and Dom. Then Michael Nudson's going to come across in Category 1 in third place ahead of Said Safrazad, who's going to come through for fourth place. Then it's going to be David Tolbert, I think, going to be in fifth place in Category 1. Let's have a little look. These results are live. Let's watch as they update. So, Howala, Betty, Graves, Simmons, and Dont are the top 5 in Category 2. In Category 1, it's Michael Vink in 1, Martin Martins in 2, Michael Knudsen in 3, Said Safrazad in 4. And that is where we're at for Category 1 riders coming in at the moment. But that's going to change.
Yeah, Category 2. It was Che Holweller from Betty, from Graves, from Simmons, from Dont. Category 3, Velez from Quadrelli, from Caligula. Category 4, McMurtry from Zanaska.
So our riders coming through those results, updating on the MyWhoosh.com website, mywhoosh.com/results. Make sure you jump on there. Our next rider coming in to the finish here, I think it will be Kaminsky. Then it'll be Nair, then it'll be Mr. X100. I'll tell you something, they're close together as they come through here. So Talbot took away fifth place. I think taking a sixth, it's going to be a sprint here for 7th and 8th place. It's going to be a 7th and 8th. It's a battle between Zach Nair and Mr. X100. Is Nair going on? I think he is. I think Nair should be in 7 and Mr. X100 in 8th position in Category 1. You can see the rider stopped at the side of the road. Not surprised. Let's have a look at the confirmed results that are at the moment unofficial. Take us through the results, Emma.
Yeah, so Michael Vink taking the win in 1 hour, 19 minutes and 38 seconds. Martin Martins, well, he's 18 seconds back in second. Hudson in 3, Afrasad in 5, Noren in 6, Kaminsky in 7, Nair in 8, X100 in 9th place.
And if this was the team competition of our riders who registered as a team today, it would be the clan team who take that with their registered riders.
Yeah,
but of course, that
change.
Teams come next week. Congratulations to all of our riders who finished so far. And thank you very much to everybody who is riding out there still, because this is a long old race with a lot of riding. Fantastic riding from our riders. Please do make sure that you join us next week for the show, because we'll be bringing you the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club finals. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic race. Watch out for the riders in their teams. It's been an absolute pleasure putting words to the action here in the race team. My name is Matt Payne. You can catch up with me on social media across all of the platforms on Strava and all over the place. It's at Matt Fixer Pain. You can catch up with Emma Martin. Where can we find you, Emma?
You can find me at Viking Emma on Instagram.
And of course, don't forget MyWhoosh on Instagram and Facebook. It is my_whoosh on Twitter, the platform formerly known as. Give us a subscribe and like and on Twitch TV, because all those hits count. And join us again next week for the racing. A massive thank you to our riders for keeping us entertained, to the team at MyWhoosh, getting the game happening, and of course bringing us all of the pictures and working so hard behind the scenes to make it happen. A big thank you to you for watching. But from Emma, from myself here at MyWhoosh, stay safe. See you again soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.